So, starting at number 10, getting right into it, is Empire of the Vampire. Now, this one, I'm just really curious. I think vampire stuff can be cool. Also, it's gotten like really high reviews, really good reviews. And I bought this one actually as a present for someone. And I also got my own copy. But this one's number 10. There's only one book in the series out so far. So I don't really have a rush to get to it. But like I said, I am curious. But we haven't had a dark, gritty depiction of vampires in a while, I feel like. And that's what it sounds like this book is. And number 9 is The Realm of the Elderlings. The series is very, very character focused. And whilst that sounds great, I'm not a character first person, which I think I'm the odd one out here. It seems like most people are. But I think what I love most of all is probably like plot and world building and themes. So because of that, I'm not as excited to get to it, but I have no doubt that it's probably going to be amazing. Oh, also, I've heard that it's just extremely slow paced. Like I said, I love plot. But there's 16 books in the series, so that is quite a commitment. And the next series on this list is very low because of the exact same reason, which is The Wheel of Time, which has 14 books and I think a prequel. So The Wheel of Time I'm more interested in, and it's because of what I just mentioned. I absolutely love world building, and from what I've heard, this has some of the best world building in all of fantasy. And I watched the TV show that came out on Amazon, I think it was a year or two ago, but it was enjoyable, but I was quite underwhelmed, to be honest. It never made me want to just go and read the books like other adaptations, like Game of Thrones or Dune. People seem to be mixed with it. Like people that like it think it's like one of the best series ever, and others, they kind of get stuck somewhere in the middle and they say it's like a long slog to get through, which can be off-putting. All these books are like long books, probably, I don't know, probably closer to the 1,000 page mark. But yeah, I don't see myself getting to the Wheel of Time too soon. There's just too many stuff ahead of it that I want to read first. But it sounds and looks awesome. So, number 7 would be the 𝐒𝐨𝐽𝐸 trilogy. I don't actually remember how I even found out about this one, but I read the synopsis and I kind of looked at like some cover art and looked at a couple of reviews, and it just sounds like something that I'd personally love. It's set in an era where I haven't read much fantasy books. It seems like there's just kind of the introduction of gunpowder and stuff like that into the world. So maybe like, I don't know exactly when that would be. Maybe just pre or post-industrialization. But either way, I've heard this book, it doesn't have, it's kind of low on the magic elements, which is something I love as well. And what kind of sold me, even though I was already interested, is that it's a little bit similar to the First Law, which is one of my favorite fantasy series ever. So yeah, the 𝐒𝐨𝐸𝐸 trilogy, definitely want to see this one, or read it, not see. So number 6 is a series that I've heard quite mixed things about, and it's Mistborn Era 2. I'm a big fan of Brandon Sanderson, like almost everyone. The Stormlight Archive is just incredible. Mistborn Era 2 just seems so different to Era 1. It seems like it's more lighthearted, more comedy, it's more, what's the word? It's set like in a more recent time. It doesn't have the kind of castles and swords and stuff. I think if the world has progressed to the point where I think there's like technology and guns maybe. But yeah, it's finished now. There's 4 books. It literally just finished very recently. I think before I even read this, I need to get caught up with the rest of the 𝐒𝐨𝐬 stuff. So I probably won't read this one anytime soon either. And I would absolutely love to read all of the Stormlight Archive and Mistborn again. I'll probably do that next year before book 5 drops. Number 5 is the Dandelion Dynasty. It's fairly new. It's been getting a lot of high praise. I've heard it's like very historical, and like most fantasy lovers, I love history. So just like in its presentation, the way it's written, the way it like goes through characters and family trees and generations, a bit like Game of Thrones. And to be honest, I don't know that much about the series, but I'm definitely very intrigued. And when I see series hyped up, I mostly kind of trust the sources, because the people on BookTube and the people that love fantasy and sci-fi like I do, they just tend to have good taste. And you find someone that loves some similar things to you, like dark epic fantasy, and then it's not hard to, you know, find something that you also love. Like for example, the first law is completely hyped up everywhere, and I completely agree with all the hype. Whereas something else like the Wheel of Time, also pretty hyped up, but I don't know, for my personal preference, or maybe for the Realm of Elves, I should say, for my personal preference, I might not like it quite as much as I like something like the First Law. But anyway, moving on to number 4. And to be honest, this one's only so high because I own the series already. If I didn't own it, it would be probably more lower down, like 8, 9. But that is the Poppy War trilogy. I've actually had this for a while now, but I've been on a small hiatus from fantasy and diving into sci-fi. But when I get back, it's not very high up on the TBR, to be honest. I am very curious though, it sounds good. I have again heard mixed things on books 2 and 3, but I feel like I'll probably enjoy it. It seems like a modern, fast-paced fantasy book that draws a lot of allegories and inspiration and just real-life history from the Chinese, I think it was the Sino-Japanese War, like just before World War II started. Oh wait, I could be wrong, I don't remember. But yeah, it sounds awesome. I've heard it compared to The Rage of Dragons, which is a great book. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Number 3 is the Greenbone Saga. This one I really want to read. It's like just a simple trilogy, so it's not a big commitment. And this one has just been praised a lot. And yeah, it's got me really curious. I've heard it compared to The Godfather, and as a self-confessed cinephile, I can't believe I actually haven't seen The Godfather. The Greenbone Saga, especially books 2 and 3, people go crazy for. And to be honest, I like the kind of setting and genre. Like I love gangster films, gangster series, like Boardwalk Empire or something like that. So the setting I can tell I would love, and the relationships between the families and stuff like that. The crime inspired like story, just all sounds very like great stuff. Yeah, this series is I've seen it slightly cropped into so many people's like top 10 fantasy series. And so I want to know what the hype is. But let's move on to number 2, which is from fellow booktuber Brian Lee Durfee, The 5 Warrior Angels. I love dark fantasy, I love epic fantasy, so it sounds like it's made for me. I've heard it hyped up, especially from Matt's fantasy book reviews, and I really love his channel. And like I said earlier, you find someone that has similar taste to you. I've heard it compared to The Faithful and the Fallen, and that is one of my favorite series. It sounds like it has a very religious theme running throughout the books, and that's something I also love. One of the many reasons why I love something like Dune, and even Game of Thrones and Faithful and the Fallen have this religious thematic depth to them that just really like stimulates me. Number 1 series is Malazan, Book of the Fallen. I wanted to read this series already because it just sounds incredible. It sounds extremely dense, complex, thematically rich. and crazy. Like the amount of stuff going on, it seems like it has probably the best world building in all of fantasy from what I've heard. But yeah, I actually can't wait to start Malazan Book of the Fallen. I'm still reading sci-fi. There's a few like more sci-fi books I need to read, and I want to finish my reread of Red Rising. But hopefully in a few months I'll be starting Malazan Book of the Fallen. Now some people start this series and I can tell they really want to like it, but then they just say, oh, I just can't get into it, it's too much for me. I think Library of a Viking said that in one of his videos. But it seems like he's committed to try and join the Malazan hype train. And so am I, but I somehow don't think I'll have that problem. Like I said, I love epic, big stories of crazy world building, loads of characters, a lot of history and religious depth to the story, and stories that just go back like hundreds of thousands of years, like a Lord of the Rings or Stormlight Archive, where the world building is just so deep and ingrained in these characters. Soon, in the near future, I'll be doing my top 10 fantasy series. But for now, this is what you get. But I want to know, like, have you read any of these series? Or are they series that you also want to read? I would love to know, like, if I should bring some series like up on the list or some series down, which ones you believe are absolute must-reads. Like and subscribe for a newer channel, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.